Good morning. This is Mona, and this is my morning view. Today, Fall Edition 2025. It is Fiesty Friday. Fiesty Friday, the day I get to offend, and sometimes even myself. Okay, today, it might be an offensive, I'll think of it, complaining day. Complaining day. Oh! See, sometimes I get to complain. Why? Because I'm human, and sometimes in our complaints we can express things that find answers. That find answers. When we know what the problem is, we can find the solution. That's what's wonderful about problems, because without problems, there's no solutions. All right, so there we have it. That's my take on it. My excuse for complaining. All right, this is my complaint. It is ramped up. It is ramped up since December started. I have hearing aids. I don't have them in right now. I've been not wearing them for multiple reasons. One is because the phone and my Bluetooth are not working in sync properly. So, and I don't mean my phone as in the physical phone. I'm talking about the phone call part of my phone, the actual phone of my phone. All the other stuff, the internet stuff, all of that works fine with my hearing aids, but not the phone calls. It kicks it out of my Bluetooth. It won't hold on to the Bluetooth. And so now I can't hear what people are saying because it's turned off in my ears. And then I try to put it on speaker on the physical phone, right? I put it on speaker on the phone and it won't hold it. It tries to connect it to Bluetooth. Now, the solution to this is to turn off my Bluetooth. But then, anytime I just randomly want to listen to something, I have to go back and turn it on. All these extra steps. Wah, wah, wah. Okay, that's part of it. So if I'm going to make a phone call, I don't want to have my hearing aids in. I don't want it to try to connect to them, because they're not going to connect to them for some reason. Now, moving right along to part two. Part two. My phone, the one that won't let me speak on my Bluetooth, the one that won't let me listen to the conversation on Bluetooth. So both problems have to deal with this phone. And not the physical phone, the phone call aspect of the phone. If I turn sound off for the physical phone, the phone call aspect of the phone still rings in my ears. So I'm hearing the ringing, but once I answer, it disconnects. As you can see, this is quite annoying. But now that it is December, the spam calls have quadruplified. I literally get like 5 phone calls in a row that are spam or some imaginary name that I have no idea who they are, or a bank, or, I don't answer any of those. There is not one reason why any bank should be contacting me on the phone. Not one. Zero. 2, people that don't know me. They have no business calling me. So, there's that. If you want to get in touch with me, you can go through my Facebook page where I have an email. So you can go there. So there are ways to contact me if you don't know me, if you want to do business with me. If you do not want to do business with me, and all you are doing is harassing me to buy your product, no, because it isn't happening. When I need the need, then I will look for the people that I want to help me with the need. You don't need to contact me on my phone. You don't need to spam my email. You can send one message saying, hey, this is my product. I'd really like for you to check it out. Yay. I'm cool with that. Don't get in there saying, oh, I'm your friend. I'm your friend. I want to be your friend. And then try to sell me something. You know, after we've built a rapport, yeah, okay. What's your spiel? I got it. You know? But don't bombard my email. Do not bombard my telephone, because then you get ignored. When you become an email abuser, I stop associating myself, and you will be unsubscribed, blocked, deleted, gone. You are not coming back. Now, I wish that were true. I wish that were true. I wish there was a way to say, look, dude, I didn't subscribe to you in the first place. Why do I have to unsubscribe to you? And why do I have to do it 15 times and you're still contacting me? Because they use different emails, right? Because their whole point is to spam, spam, spam. That is harassment. I would like to sue for harassment. If anybody out there is a lawyer that would like to take on this case pro bono, just to stick it to the spammers, you can contact me via email, not by phone. Oh, I'm feeling feisty today. So mind you, the spam phone calls always come in twos. So when I say the phone rang 5 times, it rang 10 times. Because every spam call, it rings for a long time, then it rings a short time. Then another one comes in, rings a long time, rings a short time. That's how the spam calls come in. I'm sitting there on the bike in physical therapy, pedaling my little heart out while my phone is in my jacket in the lobby. But I have my hearing aids on, and even though my phone is off on sound, you know, I've muted sound, not vibration, not enough. Sound is off. It is coming in my ears. Coming in my ears, in my hearing aids. Loud and clear. Like and there's not a bypass button. Now I have found a solution. But I have to remember to do it before I go into physical therapy or into work or anywhere else where I do not answer my phone. And that is, not only do I turn the sound off, but I lower the sound all the way down. And once I lower the sound all the way down, so I have to have this 2-step process to not let the spam calls ring in my ear, and you can't stop it because I'm nowhere near my phone. Or I can't answer the phone at the moment, and I'm trying to hear a first grader or a kindergartner who has a really small voice, and they're whispering as low as they can because they can't get loud on top of their small voice. And I got ringing in my ears at work. Harassment. It is utter and complete harassment, and I want it to stop. And I think I am not the only one that gets spammed out of this world and that gets spam phone calls at all hours. I've gone to bed at night and forgot to turn my phone sound off. And the phone's ringing from the other side of the house while I'm in bed. Yeah, today is a Fiesty Friday. It is absolutely a Fiesty Friday. I don't know how to solve the stopping of harassment. They used to have don't call lists, and of course they ignore don't call lists. And why should somebody have to do a no call list continually? And as far as I know, I haven't even heard about the whole the no call list in over a decade. It's like smartphones took over the world, and it's like, okay, anybody can call anybody now. And it doesn't matter if you're spamming them and harassing them or not. You can block the number, but they find another one. It's just like the emails. So it's this continuous waste of our time, a continuous distraction from our life that continually happens through tech. And that's why I have such a hard time with tech. It's one of the biggest reasons. It's a great tool. It's a great tool, but it's also a great distraction. That's why I don't live on my phone. That's why I don't answer texts right away. It's why I don't get back to differing things that are going on my phone. Because I'm not going to let it rule me. Too many people are ruled. The minute it rings, they're like, pick it up. Ring, pick it up. Ring, pick it up. Okay, 5 times. Well, actually 10, because it keeps ringing. Double. For nothing. How many seconds are wasted, and how many seconds add to minutes, and how many minutes add to days, and how many days add to weeks, and how many weeks add to months, and how many months add to years. And every time you stop to go do that, it's not just that time. Now you have to go back and get focused on what it was that you were doing before it happened. Which wastes even more time. I am praying for redemption of time. Because God redeems all things. And there are things that are being stolen from us because of the world system that we live in today. And time is one of those things. And I got a loud plane coming my way. So, all right. Usually at Christmas time, I'm doing Christmas videos, little stories and thoughts about the nativity. So far, I have not gone into. There's a couple of avenues that I would like to go into, and one is maybe taking Christmas carols and talking about a different Christmas carol throughout the holiday season, or possibly the traditional Christmas tree, Santa Claus, elves, ho ho ho, purchases, Coca-Cola, you know, the whole deal, the whole what do you call that, commercialized part of Christmas, along with the traditions of the Christmas story that brings in Santa Claus and Rudolph and the reindeer and all that. I have not done those yet. I've traditionally only done the nativity scene. What does the Christmas story, the real Christmas story, have to offer us? And I've offered different views of what it could look like based on archaeology, off of paleontology, would that be the right one? The study of societies and culture and all of that, right? All the stuff that would be used to explain what it would look to us who can't see that today. Because, you know, we go on virtual tour to Israel. Virtual tour. Thank you, YouTube. And we visit the birthplace of Christ. And it's a big church with a hole. What did it look like? Was that the real place? Is that the spot? I have my theories and my opinions, but I don't have, I can't say, you know, thus saith Mona, this is where it is, you know, because, but I tend to use archaeology as a main focal point. And the nativity itself has some ideas there that suggest that maybe it wasn't the space. It wasn't the place. On the counter side, you go to the cross of Jesus, the place of where Jesus' death, and he died and was buried. And that, archaeologically, is sound. Not the garden tomb, not the skull, the rock skull that's at the bus station, you know. That gives us a picture of what it could have looked like. So in that sense, it's kind of cool to visit those places, because you could say, oh, that's what it kind of looked like. Or that's what it kind of looked like. The skull and the tomb. The skull of the rock and the tomb. Golgotha. But archaeology suggests otherwise. And so I tend to fall more on archaeology than I do on what it looks like today. Because it's today, right? And a lot of erosion has taken place. A lot of stuff has taken place. So it's one of those things of, well, is it or isn't, right? So I tend to look at the archaeology and go, you know what? I think the archaeologists know what they're doing. They know what they're saying. Now, there was a time when they wanted to discount biblical things. And so there was this archaeologist that spewed out a whole bunch of stuff, discounting a lot of biblical archaeology. But since then, more things have come up that proves archaeology, biblical archaeology, is factual. And so there's that. So they're going to go down in history as, okay, they wanted to make a name for themselves. They wanted to take what the original archaeologist said and twist it and say, oh no, they were wrong, I'm right. And so they get hailed for this new discovery of, you know, thought. And then because of that, they made a name for themselves. So their name is famous in the archaeology world. Your random person isn't going to know who they are. So she thought she was going to be somebody, but now what she's going to be found is I don't want to say fraud, but very fallible. She's going to be known, and those that followed in her footsteps, they're going to be known as not knowing what they're doing, because they wanted their own agenda. They wanted to be famous. They wanted to say something different so that their name would be out there. And you really have to watch for people like that. But in that, there are ideas and thoughts that are plausible when you look at historical stuff. So you can look at it this way, or you can look at it this way. And both are plausible. Doesn't make them wrong. It makes them plausible. So that's what I usually do in December. I haven't started it yet, and it's already the 5th, and I won't have another view until Monday. So we'll see what it will bring, what Monday will bring. So I'm going to be thinking about it all weekend long of which area I'm going to go. Am I going to go along the lines that I have always done, traditional nativity? Am I going to bring in Christmas carols? Maybe I'll go through some of my archives and maybe add in some of those nativity stories that are already done, that I've been doing for over 10 years, not over 10 years, over 5 years of the nativity. I don't know how long ago I started the nativity stories in December. It could have been, 2018, possibly. I'm not sure. I think it was before COVID. So we have plenty of things to look at and see and decide. And if you stay with me, you'll be able to see some of those. So make sure you subscribe if you're on YouTube. If you're not on YouTube, go over to YouTube, Mona E. Harrison. Mona E. Harrison, you'll see my white hair, my beautiful face, and subscribe there and hit all the bells and whistles. Get your notifications, both on Facebook and on YouTube. Like, share, and comment anything that you find valuable. And even the complaints. Because sometimes the complaints gets a connection. Sometimes the opinion, my feisty opinion, gets a connection to those that, you know what? I'm not alone. There's somebody else that has to deal with this. Well, how does she deal with that on the day-to-day? How does she deal with walking in peace daily and not being anxious and not being stressed out and not getting agitated and angry about anything? Yet the composure is at a place of peace. Even when I'm on a bicycle and the phone is ringing 10 times. So, with that, I will give you a wonderful weekend. Blessings. Enjoy it. And I will see you on Monday. Thank you, Luann, for watching. And thank you, Teresa, for watching. And I'll catch you on Monday. And my fingers are frozen. All right. Blessings, everybody. Have a great day.